back, you're watching Overdrive. The Volvo C40 Recharge is a coupe derivative of the XC40 Recharge. It is powered by a 78 kilowatt-hour battery pack and offers 530 kilometers of driving range. Let's find out more about it.
Now, the Volvo XC40 Recharge has been quite the success in India, with Volvo accounting for 25% of all luxury EVs now sold in the country. So it's no surprise that we're now seeing this, the C40 Recharge. Now, the C40 is the coupe SUV version of the XC40. So it's no surprise that most of the changes are centered around here, and it's really quite an attractive design. To start with, you have this nice sort of double bubble kind of treatment, if you want to call it. It's of course an aerodynamic aid, and that continues with this heavily raked rear windscreen. You see the angle of it, it's quite substantial. And then you have this quite nice spoiler. Again, it does give it some air efficiency. It's done up in black with this really low brake light here, so it looks really nice. But of course, what will first catch your eye are these tail lamps. They're much more stretched out than the ones in the XC40, much more swept back, and they have this really nice segmented look to it, and this sort of blank space, body color blank space in the middle, which really stretches it out. And then the way it pushes into the boot lid itself, and this indent here, the wide badging, it really does look quite sporty, quite a bit more than the XC40. Now, of course, this has come at some cost to practicality, and while you still have a reasonably sized boot at 478 litres, if you discount this space saver wheel, it's still quite a bit less than the 578 of the regular XC40 Recharge. Now, because of this sloping roofline, the height itself is reduced by about 60 mm, and the C40 Recharge is marginally wider to it, about 32 mm wider than the XC40 Recharge. But yeah, there's other changes too. The door, of course, it's changed a bit from the XC40. You have a sharper angle to it. This quarter glass is done up a bit differently. And of course, you notice they're typical of many EVs right now, these really smart looking, fully covered alloy wheels. Now, the front of the C40 Recharge is nearly identical to the XC40 Recharge. You have the same new shape for the headlamps, this crisper shape, which sort of angles in, but they're now pixel LEDs, so they look a bit sharper, and of course, they'll function differently as well. And then, of course, the distinct sort of blanked out grille or fascia, if you will, with a large Volvo badge, and this sort of air inlet to maybe cool the battery pack, that. And this itself is taken straight from the regular XC40, even the petrol version, with this arrowish design, again with this small fog lamp inside it. Now, this is not as common as you would expect in EVs, but the C40 Recharge actually has a fairly substantial trunk or a storage space under where the engine would otherwise be, and it's a 31 litre, so you can quite easily put your charging cables and maybe some grocery here too, so it's quite a usable space actually. Now, in terms of the powertrain, it's got the same twin motor layout as the XC40 Recharge, so it's effectively an all-wheel drive car, and the outputs are fairly significant with 408 PS and 660 Newton meters, and will do 0 to 100 in 4.7 seconds. That's about 0.2 seconds quicker than the XC40 Recharge. But really, the most interesting stat here is the range. At 530 kilometers, it's significantly more than the 418 that you get in the XC40 Recharge, although the battery pack, at least on paper, is exactly the same at 78 kilowatt-hour. Now, Volvo says this is because of the more slipperier shape and changes made to the battery chemistry. That's what given it so much more range. But of course, we'll drive it soon in August, and we'll tell you exactly how much it does on a full charge. Now, this is what the rear seat of the C40 Recharge is like. The sloping roofline expectedly eats into headspace. It's about 60 mm less, but there is a sense of openness, mainly because of this really large fixed panoramic sunroof. Now, the C40 is still based on an IC architecture, the CMA architecture, which is why you have this central tunnel. So while space for 3 people is there, and as a single passenger here, you're pretty comfortable. The floor also isn't all that high, especially considering it's an EV. Yeah, there could have been more underthigh support in either case. The seat back angle is right, there's good cushioning. But the third passenger here will not have that much space for their feet. But this being a Volvo and their very strong focus on sustainability these days. Now, you notice that the leather here is man-made, and these carpets, they're made of recycled PET bottles. So there's quite a bit of thoughtfulness that's gone into making the cabin of the C40 Recharge. Now look at the C40 Recharge's dash, and it's again very similar to what you get in the XC40 Recharge. Again, it's made from the same recycled materials, it's an all-black look to it, but the general layout has remained largely unchanged from the electric XC40 Recharge and the regular petrol-powered XC40. So you have the same 9-inch screen with the very useful Google functions, for example, Maps, Play Store and so on, which also shows you in the quite minimalistic instrument cluster. Now, a noticeable change though is the fact that you get this topographic design theme on the doors and on the dashboard, which really does lend a different look to the C40 Recharge. Now, prices for the C40 Recharge will be announced in August with deliveries beginning in September. As for how much it will actually cost, we expect it to hover around the rupees 60 lakh mark. But what do you think? Would you pick this for a few lakhs more with its far more stylish shape than say over the more simpler, more upright XC40 Recharge?
Bookings for the Volvo C40 will start online in August and deliveries will start in September. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you all about the new Mercedes-Benz EQB 350.